I like to say that civilization, the way we live now, it's an attempt to step back and think about this planetary-wide civilization we have created, ever more globalized, ever more homogenized. So first of all, it's about a planetary civilization, something we all share. Secondly, it's collective, that we forget in this time where we worship individuality. There's a cult of individuality, celebrity, and so on. We forget that most of our achievements, human achievements, are collective in nature. We don't build iPhones at home in our basements. We don't build our own cars. We certainly don't build our Airbus 380s, submarines. We don't build our skyscrapers individually and so on. It's a collective effort. And thirdly, civilization is cumulative in that every generation is adding an onion skin layer. As we all know, in the last few months even, not even years, there has been a flurry of interest in artificial intelligence, almost panicky-like. Is it going to destroy civilization, and so on and so on. So the show is meant to kind of calm spirits down a little bit. That's what still photography does. It gives you an opportunity to look at something frozen in time and think about its implications. It goes back, I found a note to myself from 2010 in which I said, I'd like to sink my teeth into this idea of civilization. Then 2016, I convinced Todd Brandel, the director of the Foundation for the Exhibition of Photography, to do the show. And he said, okay, but we have to have a big museum commit to it first. And we got the Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art in Korea. And that's when we launched it. And then, of course, we had to put the show together. So I brought in Holly Roussel, who's a younger curator, American, but specializing in Asia and Chinese photography, to help with that part of the world. And then we started looking at everybody we knew about and anyone we thought we should know about. The usual curatorial process where you ask colleagues and one thing leads to another, and you do a lot of work on the internet, and always looking for work which spoke to us about civilization. We looked through hundreds of thousands of pictures, no exaggeration. We brought it down to kind of 1,000, and then we brought it down to a more manageable 350, something like that. And only then did we begin to think about chapterizing them. So there are 8 sections in the show, 8 chapters. The chapters, hive, alone together, flow, persuasion, rupture, control, escape, next, aren't meant to be watertight compartments. The public is free to say, I think that picture should have gone in escape, or I think that picture should have gone in flow. Yeah, of course. And this is because pictures can have multiple readings. So ours is a kind of proposition. It's a kind of proposal. And we really would like the public to say, as a few have this morning, they've come up to me and say, why did you put this picture here? And I explain, and go, oh yeah, okay, makes sense. And then one said, but I would have put it in that chapter. That's great, yeah, we've actually done that in the other museums. This is the 7th place we've shown, after Korea, China, Australia, New Zealand, France, Italy. So in each place, we have actually modified the show for the architecture. And Saatchi has these big, beautiful galleries. We have 9 of them. And that corresponded beautifully for the 8 sections of the show. And then we designed, wall by wall, the installation. In all honesty, the favorites change every time I do it. Because you can say everything was chosen purposely. So I'm just as happy to talk about any one photograph. But there are some that are, I hate to use that stupid word iconic, because now it's been used for breakfast cereals and staplers and whatever. But some of them have a very specific message, and I think, for example, of the Thomas Struth, which I'm looking at now, which has a modern, contemporary audience, us, looking at this great Greek Pergamon altar, relic of a great age of Greek civilization. So it's our civilization looking at our roots. So in each section, there's one image that I could say is perfectly attuned to the title. I'm looking at Pablo Lutz in the first section called Hive, about the city, and he shows from the air, he's showing Mexico City, and it looks like waves of habitation rolling over the countryside. And I thought metaphorically that was really interesting. This sense of these megalopolises just kind of expanding and expanding and expanding very organically, often without planning, and yet somehow functioning. That's the astonishing thing. You know, we manage to live together in these dense situations and make it work.